So good. Honestly, I'm tempted. Now we're out at Gloria here on the old course, and what a glorious day it is. This hole we're playing here, the 11th, it's 320 yards, some would say, just about in range. Oh, just zoom in on the pin, mate. Just zoom in on the pin. Which would be a mistake because we are actually into wind, and that's about 10 yards short. Now there's two types of Generation 6 driver from PXG. This is your standard model, which is aimed at every level of player, but honestly, it's more aimed at a mid to lower handicap. It's a compact head shape, the face is nice and tall. You've also got the XF version, which looks like it has a bigger footprint. It stretches longer in the back and has a little bit more forgiveness to help the ball get up in the air. So I got fitted into this at Scottsdale National. That's the HQ of PXG. So this driver should be absolutely perfect for me. And to be honest, throughout the fitting and when I played over in Arizona with it, it was very impressive. I must admit, I've not hit that much PXG products in the past. That last drive notwithstanding, what really stood out for me was the consistency and the accuracy. A little bit like that. Oh, right in between those two trees. And this is what I left Arizona with an overriding feeling of. These two drives pretty much equidistant. We can ignore the other one which went in the bushes, but even that wasn't far off being the same distance, even though the strikes were actually in different locations across the face. Also, a lovely little club just to use around the green as an alternative. That actually has a chance as well. Go on, go on, go on, go on. Pin eye. Behind the ball, it has that carbon crown, you know, something which has been adopted by most of the major manufacturers now, at least on one model of all their drivers. First drive, straight down the middle. Now that is nothing completely new. It's nothing massively groundbreaking. You know, this has been done and done before. But PXG have done it in a way that looks good. It looks classy. It doesn't stand out too much, but you know it's there. And I think that's a good hallmark of design. I want to be able to put this driver behind the ball, feel confident, know what's going on without it being too garish. So I really do appreciate the matte finish. These decals around the outside, it's okay. It's okay. One thing I really like about this driver, this might be a me thing, but also I think a lot of players who want much lower lofts in their driver will appreciate this head. It comes, if you want it, in a 7.5 degrees, and that is absolutely brilliant for me because I can keep the spin low. This driver is currently set from a 7.5 head down to 6, and that makes me a very happy boy. As another one rifles straight down the middle of the fairway. Hit the first ball. Oh, by the way, I've ripped that. I'm getting loose, boys. I'm getting loose. I must admit, although that drive has gone an absolute million miles, the first one was a little bit out of the bottom. The actual overall distance of this driver when compared to other big driver brands, it's similar. It's not like explosively bigger than anything else out there. Again, consistency, consistency, consistency. That's what I kept coming back to during the testing and on the subsequent data as well. You know, this isn't by any means gonna blow you away with the distance that it can hit, but it's the consistency of being able to hit. Look at this one, it's gonna be pretty much on the same line. Like I like full cards on the table. Obviously, I've got a decent swing. You know, I'm a PGA professional and I can play around scratch. But hitting 3 drives like that on the tightest fairway in golf, straight down the middle, you've got to take note of that. I've got to take note of that. All right, The 260, a little fade through these trees. What a beautiful setting this is, by the way. I hope these shots live up to it. Like, if it doesn't drive off the deck, then it's not even worth considering. Oh my God, that's straight at it. Oh, literally. Okay, that's one on the green. That's lower. I'll get a skip left, left, left. Mr. Bunker. That is just short right of the green. A little bit low on the face, that one, was it? Not my usual standard, I apologize. Whoa. Oh no. A bit low again. Driver off the deck score, 6 out of 10. A little bit more into the specs. So we've got a titanium 412 face, which PXG say can be very strong and very fast. They're talking about this carbon crown being very strong, but again, nothing that you've not heard before. The weighting system in the bottom, that is good during the fitting. This can be adjusted for individual specs like it has with me. Again, nothing that you haven't heard before. We're a little bit downwind here, mate. Should we hit some bombs? Oh my God, that's massive, Mr. Bunker. That is a Gigantosaurus Rex. Now stay tuned, because we're going to do a data comparison against all the other leading drivers out there. I think this driver, this could be a potential replacement for the Stealth 2 Plus if it can go as long off the tee. Consistency wise, I think this is maybe a little bit better than the Stealth 2 Plus, the driver in my bag. Distance wise, does it still have the edge though? We'll find out. Man, so good though. There's also one huge benefit of this club compared to its competitors, which we will have a look at once we get down and see where these drives have gone. We are 342 meters off this tee. Let's see how far we have into the green. Each one of those is huge. Again, seriously, like the first drive, pitched in the bunker, second drive, third drive. All of them, like distance-wise, like front to back, we're talking what, 3 yards of difference? It's crazy. But one big difference with this PXG driver range, let's get to that on the next tee. So we've got 4 holes left here on the old course at Gloria. Shall we have a 4-hole vlog while we talk about, I think, the biggest positive, but also for people who've bought PXG clubs in the past, potentially a big negative about this driver and about the most recent releases. We've got what looks like a long par 4 here. Why have I decided to do this on a hole with all that water on the left? This was a stupid idea, wasn't it? But huge positive of this driver, it's very accurate. So good. Honestly, I'm tempted. I am tempted. Now, the reason you might be tempted by this driver is it's $499. Now, compared to the rest of the competition, that is cheaper. That is undercutting pretty much every major brand. And the confusing thing is, this is PXG. Historically, one of the most expensive, premium, and exclusive brands. So what's happened? Now, when I was in Arizona, I did get to sit down with the CEO, the owner of PXG, Bob Parsons, and actually ask him like, why such a change? Because the drivers, the irons, they used to be so expensive. We're talking thousands of pounds, but they were never so much better than the competition that they deserved that price tag. It was very much a status thing. It was, oh, look at me, I've got PXG. And Bob Parsons was chatting about the fact that because they've got the manufacturing process in place now, they can make their whole activity, their whole business cheaper, and therefore pass that saving on to the consumer. I'm not saying I'm skeptical about that, but I personally think it's just a change in market position, going from being very expensive to a lot more affordable. It's a tactic that manufacturers have used before, where they drop their prices down, expensive enough that they're still making a profit, it's still viable, but cheap enough so it undercuts everybody. If you think about the Cobra King F9, classic example, great driver, low price and everything else, sold an absolute ton load. Nick, I can't believe it, I think I missed the fairway. I think I'm in the trees. Oh, there you go, mate, hooping. When Cobra did this, they had the advantage of being obviously a recognised manufacturer, which PXG are. I would say more highly respected by more people because they've been consistent for a number of years. Them dropping the price, it didn't seem crazy. For PXG, they've gone from such a high price to a low one. I don't know, I don't know if they've built up enough customer goodwill to actually make it work. And if I was a PXG customer, even from like 2 years ago, and I spent thousands and thousands more than the clubs are currently being sold at, I'm not sure I'd be thrilled. I think I'd be a little bit annoyed. Well, ultimately, the market, the consumer, will be the real test of if this driver works. It depends how people see the whole situation. What I cannot give any real criticism for is actually the quality of the club. I think it's great. I think the next step for them, they've got a few tour players using it, but if you want that real kind of tour stamp of approval, they need to get their players all using this driver. 275 to the pin. That's right, we have the PXG DOD 2023 Mark II. And this, if this comes off, this could be a legendary shot. The pin is like basically in the middle of those trees. I don't even think you'll be able to see it, mate. But this has to start left of this tree, slice round, and have 275 yards worth of power. Let's do this. Oh my God, that is incredible! Keep cutting, keep cutting. I think I've got it. I think I made it. I think I've made front edge. Did you see it? It pitched, like can you see the bunker just to the left of the green? It pitched over that. I think I might have genuinely just hit my best ever shot. I honestly think I might have just hit my best ever shot. Oh, you can see it. I reckon it's like pitched in the face somewhere and just like popped, because it like popped up. It's gonna be very interesting to see this data comparison and if I'm gonna switch it up. PXG instead of a TaylorMade Stealth 2. Don't know how I feel about that. So testing is done and some fairly interesting results. The first thing I would point out is that the PXG has performed very well in comparison to the TaylorMade. Now I was swinging the PXG actually slightly faster than the TaylorMade. Only 1 mile an hour, but that does need to be taken into account. But the PXG was coming out at a slightly faster ball speed, just over 1 mile an hour, but I think that the swing speed difference would equate to that. Now, throughout the testing, I have to say a couple of personal preferences. The Stealth 2 Plus feels like a nicer driver to me. The feeling off the face is a little bit more powerful. It almost feels a bit more responsive as well. The PXG is a little bit hard and you can kind of feel the club face twisting a little bit on the off-center strikes. Just personal preference, but I do like the feel of the Stealth 2 a little bit more. Distance-wise, which is of course is one of the main judgment points when looking at drivers, we have 306.8 through the air for the TaylorMade with 332 total, and it's 304.5 through the air with the PXG at 326 total. So we're looking at about a 6-yard difference overall in favor of the TaylorMade. Oddly enough, within this test, I was actually hitting the TaylorMade a little bit straighter as well, which I didn't expect. Now, to put this to the ultimate test, I had to make sure out on the golf course because numbers-wise, there's not a great deal in it. Feel-wise, as mentioned, I probably still do prefer the TaylorMade. So what happened next was literally a month and a half of on-course testing with these two clubs. So on the course, the PXG was good. It felt a little bit more accurate at times. It also felt like I could swing it quite hard. I felt quite confident and loose with it. But I then put the Stealth 2 Plus against it on the same day, same swings, and it has to be said that the Stealth 2 Plus was performing better on the course. That is not just me saying that. Jacob?
Yeah.
Kieran?
Yeah.
it was the Stealth 2 Plus. So that is the club which is staying in the bag. But the PXG, for the first time, I think is a great driver. It's a driver that everybody can use. I love the fact it can go down to a low loft as well, and I'd be more than happy to recommend it. For me, personal preference is still the TaylorMade, but honestly, the PXG is a good driver.
So just when I thought it was all settled, it was all simple, I have been out to play and the face of the Stealth 2 Plus has popped out. Now this is the second issue that I've had with separate Stealth 2 Plus drivers with the face popping out. So this time, this was at the bottom that it started to kind of come loose and pop, and now the full face has come out. So, end of this video, we need a to be continued because we have an issue here. So stay tuned, I'm going to be doing a full what's in the bag when just announcing what my full set of clubs is going to be, and I need to do a little bit more research into this.